First of all, I want to thank you for allowing me to be here. It's really a really great dynamic group, and yeah, I'm blessed and really honored that I can be here this morning. So thank you for having me. I'm used to coaching people, but that's not actually what I'm going to be talking about today. What we're going to be talking about today is creating revolutions, personal revolutions, and how do you be the change that you wish to see in the world. Now, how many of you have had a life-changing experience? So say maybe it was an unexpected pregnancy, or a divorce, or a sudden death, or an amazing job that, that totally changed your life and you had to move somewhere else. Anyone have those? Say aye.
Aye.
Oh, come on. Say aye.
Aye.
Right, because all of us, I mean, honestly, it does not matter who we are. We constantly have these unexpected changes, and that's part of life. You know, the word revolution, the Latin definition means to make a turn or to turn around. And so what I want to talk about today is, you know, how do you deal with those sudden turns? But also, furthermore, how do you make those changes? But how do you make those changes positive? How do you take what life is giving you and turn it around so that not only are you giving back, but you feel good as well? So speaking of, I have small gifts that I like to give out throughout. And actually, usually what I do is I ask, you know, who has done, particularly early in the morning, people don't feel like they've already given, but so many people have given this morning, and I just would like to, if you don't mind, just give this to Mercedes for giving the donation. It's just something very small, but thank you for all the work that you do. It's pretty amazing. So if you were given the opportunity to do something small, something simple every single day that would make you feel good but change the world, would you do it?
Yep.
Oh, if you, that's right, hell yeah! Whoever you are, I can't see back there. Bless you. And that's what we're going to talk today. We're going to talk about, all right, how do we do these small little things? And you're doing them already, but how do we be conscious of those small little things so that we can make a bigger impact? So there's going to be 4 takeaways that I want to talk about, and those 4 takeaways are: 1, that strength lies in the decisions that you make. Strength lies in every single decision that you make. Number 2, self-accountability, not accountability, but self-accountability is everything. Number 3, small changes actually yield big results. And this is something that I feel that we forget, that small, tiny little tweaks, small little changes are what make the biggest difference. And the 4th takeaway that we'll talk about is being in a state of we can. Not I can, but we can. But before we get into all that, I want to share a little bit of my story, if I may. So we all have stories. We all have history. You know, each one of our stories has brought us, no matter how it's turned, no matter how it's turned out, has brought us here today to sit in this room and to talk to one another. And my story, I ended up, from the age of 13, raising my siblings. My mom's an alcoholic and a drug addict. And my mom and dad ended up splitting when I was around 13. And my mom would drink and drug the support money away. And she started dating a man who was extremely abusive and actually tried killing us a plethora of times. I know, it's like an after-school special. No, it's okay to laugh. Because I'm standing in front of you, so it's okay to laugh. But what happened was, I didn't know where the next meal was going to come sometimes. So I'm the oldest of 5. There's 5 of us now. And there's a 20-year difference between myself and the baby. But I didn't know where the next meal was going to come from. I didn't know how I was going to take care of these kids. So I ended up getting a job at a local restaurant to make sure that, we had money that we could, that we could eat. And sometimes my mom would end up stealing the money while I was sleeping. And so there were times where I would have to go and beg local restaurants for food just to make sure that my siblings would have what they needed. And because of that, it sort of gave me this urgency of, no matter what, I have to keep pushing forward. I have no idea how I'm going to make this happen. And that's life. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, you know that. And how many, just so I know, how many of you are business owners? So this room knows that you do not know how every single day is going to go. But it doesn't even matter if you're an entrepreneur or not. There are changes that occur every single day, and how are you going to handle them? And it's usually only when we are in sort of life-threatening situations or crisis mode that we go, okay, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? How do we go? How do we continue to move forward? And so I was in that mode. When it came time to go to school or go off to college, I grew up in West Haven, Connecticut. It's right next to New Haven. Are you from there? From West Haven? Mm-hmm. Shut up. Really? All right, well, we should
She knew your family.
Well, then we should talk. That's awesome. Hey, neighbor. But I got a full ride to Yale in biopaleontology.
Ooh.
Now, mind you, I'm an opera singer by trade. Studying dinosaur DNA is not necessarily, it was a hobby. It's not necessarily something I wanted to do. But it was a full ride to Yale. And I turned it down. And I turned it down because I knew that if I stayed in the situation that I was, if I stayed that close to home, that nothing would ever change. That I would still be the caretaker, but a caretaker in a way that wouldn't be able to help these kids grow in the way that I needed them to grow. And I wouldn't be able to financially support them in the way that I had wanted to. And of course, I'm talking about everyone else but me. I wouldn't be able to take care of me. And so I looked at that and said, you know what, there has to be another way. So life was changing and the kids were taken care of. We made accommodations and everything was, it was okay to move on at that point, if you will. And so I actually came up here and I went to Northeastern and New England Conservatory for my undergrad, created my own major and created a collaboration between the two institutions. But it was making that choice to go from what I knew that seemed like I had to stay there to something that was uncertain, because I believed that that was a better choice for me. And I'm glad that I did it. Because of that, I was able to have, I'm still, for an opera singer, so a little anatomy lesson, your larynx is the last thing in your body to mature. So a voice like James Earl Jones, like a really heavy, meaty voice like that, actually won't finish maturing until, or didn't finish maturing until his late 40s, early 50s. So I ended up having this early career. I sang at the White House, I sang at Lincoln Center, sang at the Fleet Center when it was the Fleet Center, at the Hatchell with Barry Manilow as a backup singer, and ended up having this career that landed me studying at the Met. And they said, you're still really young for this profession. Why don't you go out and get a day job? So I said, okay. So I ended up starting a women's organization with $100 and grew it to 55 chapters in 7 countries. And it grew to be the largest community of entrepreneurial women in the world. I started it in 2005, and it's called Wild Women Entrepreneurs. And from that, I ended up coming a second company, because I just can't sit still. I'm a polymath. As soon as I learn something, I'm on to the next. And I said, well, this is great. I love helping these women. And all these people were coming to me about, well, how do you grow things with no money? How do you grow a business with no money? What are you doing as far as online strategies? And so my marketing firm sort of blossomed from that. And so now I have the second company where we deal primarily with social and customer engagement and crowdsourcing solutions. So all of these things, and the reason why I bring it up is if I didn't leave home, if I stayed in that situation, all of these opportunities wouldn't have occurred. If I didn't trust my gut instinct that I needed to move forward. And it's about motion. If you are not moving, then you are stagnant. If you are not making a decision to fill yourself up, then you can't help anyone else. And that's something that I realized early on, that I was being so depleted because of what was going on in my life as, dealing with, essentially with being a mom, Except I didn't give birth to these kids, though I love them very much. This realization that you can't help anyone unless if you are filled yourself. So because of that, because of those revolutions, because of those changes, I'm able to stand before you today, as a published author working on a second book, entrepreneur who runs 2 companies, professor at Northeastern now. I work on artist legislation on a state and federal level. I wouldn't be able to do these things and to share this morning and share this breakfast with you if I had stayed where I was. So that's a little story about me. Now I want to talk about how can we motivate you to actually make those changes, or to make bigger changes, or make a lot of smaller changes within your life. So the first thing to talk about is your strength actually comes from making a decision. So how many of you have failed at achieving, say, a goal that you set out, or something significant that you said that you were going to do? Say aye. Aye. We all have. And there's no shame in it. We've all been there. And so when we hear from people who talk about how they failed or why they failed, usually what comes up is, well, I didn't have enough time. I didn't have enough money. I didn't have enough energy. I didn't have enough manpower. You hear, I didn't have enough. Enough what? These are all resources. When you decide to make a decision, you're moving forward. And so if you are making that conscious effort to move forward, then my suggestion and my thought to you is, instead of thinking about what you don't have, be resourceful and think about who has what I need. I'm going to tell you 99, or at least in my experience, 99.9% of the time, I never had the resources that I needed at my fingertips. But you know what? I had a community that I could reach out to. And so what I would do is I would talk to my friends, I would talk to my family, I would talk to any communities that I belonged to and explain what I was trying to do and say, this is what I'm trying to do, this is what I need, can you help? And if they were unable to help, which is fine, I think that's great, who do you know? Because your community might not be able to help you immediately, but they might know people who can. So change that lack of resource into being resourceful and reaching out to your network to figure out how to get it done. So the strength lies in that first step. Strength lies in making that decision. The second thing that I consider extremely important is self-accountability. To me, self-accountability is everything. I'll say it again because it's so important to me. Self-accountability is everything. If someone makes a promise to you and says, you know what, I'm going to do this, you would hold them accountable, right? Would you hold them accountable? Yes. Absolutely. So why don't we hold ourselves to that standard? Why don't we hold ourselves to the standards that we hold everyone else? If it can't start at home, then really, how can we say, oh, well, you didn't do this, but you said that you were going to? So to me, making sure that you keep your commitment to yourself is extremely, extremely important. And if you have trouble with accountability, that's fine. We all do. But then get an accountability partner. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe it's your online community. Maybe it's someone within your social networks, because most of our communities, we have different sort of tribes or different types of communities. Some of them are offline, some of them are online. That person does not have to be next to you. However, as long as it's someone that you trust, that you can say, you know what, all right, well, I meant to do it today, they can go, well, when are you going to do it? And actually hold you to your word. Because if you don't have your word, then what do you have? So accountability, self-accountability is everything. The third thing, small changes yield big results. And I want to tell you, a friend of mine, Joanne, she runs a nonprofit organization. And as you know, many, many nonprofits are unfortunately having to close their doors because of the economy. And so she was writing grant proposal after grant proposal, and she was sending out mailers to their list, and she was having donor meetings after donor meetings, and nothing was coming. And she couldn't understand why. And she was frustrated, and she was angry. And I ended up getting a phone call from her, and she was in tears. She was like, Ja-Nae, I don't know what to do, because I'm doing everything that I normally do, and it's not working, and I need your help. What can I do? And so I ended up coming on over, and I went through her stuff. And I said to her, I'm like, so Joanne, if you were to say what message you were conveying, you know, what would that general message be? And she looked at me and she's like, well, that we need money. And I said, exactly. You're conveying, this is a beg letter, like you're conveying that you need money. However, you are not giving the opportunity to people to engage. Like you are not showing what that value proposition is. People want to help, but they want to be empowered to help and to give in a way that they feel comfortable. But they want to know, what are they contributing to? How are they a part of this organization? You know, how can they be a part of moving this organization to the next level? And it was just that small shift in messaging that actually made a world of difference for her and allowed them to raise the $250K that they needed. And so what I say to you, or what I encourage is, look at a situation, and we all have them, but look at a situation in your life that maybe is not working the way that you would like it to. Or maybe it's working, but it could be a little bit better. And then say, okay, how can I turn this on its head? How can I look at this in a different way and sort of play devil's advocate with yourself? Also bring in other people that you trust to look at that situation and say, all right, what is your take on this? Get their feedback. You'll never know what type of solutions and what type of small tweaks, tiny tweaks that maybe need to be made in order for you to get what you need. So, small changes yield big results. The fourth takeaway that I'd like to talk about is the state of, yes, we can. What if you couldn't fail? What if you absolutely could not fail? What if your life depended on it? What if your family's life depended on your success? You would find a way to be successful, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't hear you. Absolutely. And the thing is this, is that no one is coming to save you. No one is coming to take care of your problems. It is up to you to figure out those solutions. But you're not alone, and you don't have to be alone. So by reaching out and saying to your community, I need help. This is what I need. Allow people, again, empower people to help you, but in a way that they're comfortable. At the end of the day, we all want to be fulfilled. And fulfillment is really an art. You know, it's about contributing. It's about giving. But it's also about the appreciation of the gift that you receive on a daily basis. And so when you do receive, that appreciation allows you to give back. Because you just naturally want to give. You naturally want to almost like pay it forward, if you will. So by allowing people to help you in a way that they're comfortable, but then allowing yourself to give back in a way that you're comfortable. And it might not be to the same person, And that's something that's really important to know. I feel that there are times where we expect, you know, I've given X, Y, and Z to this person, I should get X, Y, and Z back. They might not be in that position. So again, it's about contribution and it's about appreciation that allows you to constantly get what you need, but constantly give as well and make those small positive changes and be the change that you wish to see in the world. Now, if I were to give you one bonus as far as something that has totally changed my life and something that I hold dear, it would be to break all the rules. I never follow any rules at all. And if you look at extraordinary leaders, how many extraordinary leaders end up following the pro quo? None of them, right? They all find ways. They all find innovative solutions to their problems or to their situations or to their obstacles. So I challenge you to say, okay, how can I push my own barriers? How can I get out there and make a change? I might be scared as hell, but I don't care. Let me try. What's you know, really, what will it hurt to try to push those barriers? And I'm not talking about breaking any laws, because I don't have enough bail money for any of you. So. But honestly, how can you push past your own rules? Because we all have these set of rules and restrictions. How can you break free of those and challenge yourself to move forward? So I have another gift. Who can walk through the 4 takeaways and the bonus takeaway for me? Who can name them off?
Listen. Small changes yield big rewards.
Yes.
Self-accountability.
Yes.
Hold on.
Oh, you're so close.
I'm not cheating.
What's the first step?
Strength for making decisions.
That is correct.
And
together we...
together we can.
Okay, and then what's the last thing I talked about? Remember, I don't have any...
Break all the rules.
All right, there you go.
Hey.
And then also, do we have any birthdays today? Or any birthdays this week? All right, you get a gift too. I give away for birthdays since this is spring. So happy birthday. But honestly, ladies and gentlemen, it's not about the big things in life. It's really about those small changes. It's really about the time that it takes to say hi to someone, to open up a door. I have to be honest, in high school, in college, if it wasn't for my teachers, for my mentors, for the surrogate family that I ended up adopting because I didn't really have family here or at Carnegie Mellon where I did my master's, or even where I built communities. If it wasn't for people opening their hearts, maybe giving me a meal, opening their doors, saying hi to me, encouraging me that, yeah, you know what, you can do this. I have no idea how you're going to do this, but, you know, let's find ways. It's those small things that are priceless, that are totally going to change a person's life, and you might not know it right away, and you don't need to know it right away. But as long as you stay in that act of contributing and being appreciative that you are being a part of that positive change, you will see a bigger impact on the world and in a good way. So thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. Oh, I got a gift?
From Duane, and this gorgeous basket.
Oh my goodness.
It's heavy.
Are they here?
No, they're
Oh,
not.
she's here today. Oh, will you tell her thank you?
I think she has a card in here.
Oh, that's so sweet.